everybody. Welcome in or welcome back to the channel. This is Miss Tarot, and I'm back with another reading for you. This is a general collective reading. So it's been a hot minute, forgive me, but let's jump right into the tarot. Today we are going to get some overall energies with the Green Witch Oracle deck and get some specific information with the Spirit Song Tarot deck. Okay, so let's get started. Thank you so much for being here. It's definitely been a while. I just blew out the candle. A wild ride this winter and early spring. Hope you guys are all doing really well. I'm just gonna get some overall energy. So what we're going to do is just a general reading. This is going to be anything that you might possibly need to know about this next season that you're kind of entering into. I'll see if I can get like a specific time frame on what is going on for this reading, but we're just going to kind of see how it flows. Forgive me while I light my candle again, because I cannot stand it when it gets blown out by the shuffling of the cards. So we have summer, expansion, and growth. And it's funny that I was talking about a specific time frame when this just came out. I'm going to shuffle it over here so that I don't get the candle blown out again. But let's take a look and see. All right, Spirit, what are the messages you have for my viewers today? It might be summer that we're looking at. This might also be like, you know, coming full bloom type energies. Let's take a look, okay? All right, cool. Anything else? That one jumped, but it didn't want to come out. I was like, okay. Okay, very cool. I think that is enough to start. All right. So like I said, we have summer with expansion and growth. And this particular one has, like I said, is very much rooted in kind of bursting with energy type card. The sun is always, you know, in summer, you think of like the sun is high, the weather's warmer, the nights are shorter. So summer brings a lot of increased growth for a lot of living things. This energy is very much unrestricted growth, and it's an optimal time for expansion, but it's always telling you also to keep an eye on the energies in your life to make sure that you stay focused and productive. So, you know, kind of like tending your garden, don't let it become overgrown and scraggly. You know, there's a lot of, you know, balance that's going to have to be required here, but prepare for a gigantic leap forward is kind of the overall sense of energy that I'm getting. And, you know, when I was kind of thinking about doing this reading, that made sense to me. That was the whole reason why I felt like jumping into another reading immediately today. Was there's just this amazing energy right now of, how do I want to say this? Of just things are speeding up in a good way. Like the energy is getting momentum. It's, you know, and that could be said for, you know, spring and that sort of thing. I very much think that we are creatures of, just like, you know, creatures in like the forest or anywhere in the world where, you know, winter is a time of hibernation, and it's a slowing down period. And then here comes, you know, more light, more sunshine. For us in the northern hemisphere anyway, the trees, the flowers, everything's in bloom. So, you know, we're being surrounded by this blossoming energy of renewal. So, okay, that's enough yapping. I will get into the tarot. So right now we have the 10 of Feathers, the Page of Crystals, the 4 of Shells, Justice, 8 of Acorns, Knight of Crystals, and 3 of Feathers. So for this particular deck, we're looking at, you know, feathers, crystals, shells, and acorns. And just to kind of give you guys an overview of why this deck is so odd And sometimes, honestly, it can throw me off a little bit too. So if I get slightly confused, I love this deck. It's beautiful, but it can be a little confusing because sometimes I always think of feathers as like air energy, which would be, well, swords, which is great, but sometimes I get them confused with wands. Don't ask me why. Anyways, so the acorns here are traditional with wands, all right? And then when it comes to the feathers, those are swords. The shells, that's easy. That one always goes with the cups. And then we have the crystals, which are in place of pentacles, okay? So just keep that in mind. But what we're looking at here is we have essentially the 10 of swords and the 3 of swords here, right? And these two are the most difficult cards for emotional pain. But the 10 of swords signals a definitive end, right? It's like, stick a fork in it, we are done, often involving, particularly maybe a betrayal or feeling backstabbed, because the 3 of swords reinforces this theme with heartbreak and grief and emotional separation is what I'm saying. The 4 of cups here really shows, or should I say the 4 of shells, let's just keep it as simple as possible. This kind of shows a sense of apathy or, a little bit of emotional withdrawal. You might be so focused on what was lost with that swords energy that you are ignoring the new and better opportunities that are coming to you, because there is a lot of expansion and growth on the horizon, right? But what's key here is the Justice card. The Justice card right now is acting kind of as a pivot in this spread, and it really demands accountability, fairness, and seeing the situation for what it truly is. It really suggests that whenever or whatever happened as a result of past actions, there's this just resolution that is coming, okay? But overall, basically what we're looking at here is there's going to be a pretty humble beginning with the Page of Pentacles / crystals here. So this is the beginning kind of in the material world, right? It's about setting new goals and learning and staying focused on practical tasks rather than emotional type drama. But the King of Pentacles here with this little tiger guy, he's kind of a force to be reckoned with, right? This is courage and commitment. And this is the overall final energy in this reading. It represents reaching a state of total financial and personal security. These are the things that matter to you the most. Whatever it is in life that is your grounding, your core, this is what we're going to be moving towards, okay? It suggests that, if you're acting with the maturity of this particular king, that you can transform this period of pain that you had to go through into a, kind of flourishing and abundant type energy that is of your own making. I'm sorry, I have like the squeakiest chair right now. It's just so flippin' annoying. But overall, you're kind of closing a chapter that has caused some deep pain and betrayal. And, while you might feel really unmotivated right now, there's a swift change coming. Okay. And we have that with the 8 of Wands / acorns. You're just going to have to be really honest and fair with yourself. And if you really, my advice in terms of this, what I'm getting overall from the tarot is that you need to focus on small practical steps, right? Like with the Page of Pentacles type energy that we talked about, you're going to eventually reach a place of pretty powerful stability. I mean, it'll be unshakable that I think. And, when it comes to, let's kind of, for the sake of making this a little bit longer of reading, let's kind of go through, since that's kind of overall energy, let's kind of go through, if it's something that you're asking about regarding love, career, or, any specific area of life. So let's kind of do that. So for the sake of starting with the love energy, let's kind of talk about how this is going to be the end of the old. So if this was more of a love kind of question, or you feel like it applies more to a recent relationship, this is suggesting that a relationship or even a way of relating has reached its final yet painful conclusion. It's never going to you're on the trajectory up now. You were already at your lowest point, and now the only way to go is up. Okay, the worst part is over. There may have been feelings of betrayal or deep heartbreak that kind of left you feeling really pinned down. But the Four of Cups is kind of showing a current period of, like I said, emotional withdrawal, apathy. But you might be offered new cups, right? Like love or connection, but you're not quite ready to reach for them yet because you're still kind of focused on this healing, which is absolutely great. But once you accept the just outcome of this situation, things are going to accelerate, because that's what we have here with the Eight of Wands, acorns, at the center of the reading, right below expansion and growth, right? So once you kind of accept the outcome of this situation, you're going to move from this stagnant energy into a more practical and grounded approach to, dating or relationships, which is eventually going to lead you to a very stable and committed partner who offers real security, okay? Now, when it comes to career, so for those of you who are more squeaky chair, interested in, your career growth, financial focus type thing, it's kind of rock bottom to rebirth. It's similar to love, right? Because if you felt like you've been kind of looked over or taken for granted or even backstabbed at work, I mean, it's entirely possible to experience those similar types of issues in a workplace environment, similar to any sort of love relationship, right? I mean, there could be backstabbers in any sort of workplace environment, and but it even could be a job loss, right? It could be the end of something that you thought was going to be a period of accelerating your career. But obviously this is going to be a very definitive end to whatever that cycle was. But again, we have the balance here with justice, and it kind of indicates that if there were legal matters or contracts or even fairness issues with HR, it's going to be resolved in your favor, okay? Because the Eight of Wands, again, is here, and it's in a pivotal moment where it suggests a very specific flurry of activity, and you could be, being reached out to by others with multiple job offers, or something moving quickly forward to you in order for you to kind of move on quicker. Don't jump at the first offer you get. Always evaluate, right? But you're kind of, in a nutshell, you're kind of moving from a student or kind of entry-level mindset, especially with the Page of Pentacles here. And I think it's funny, just because of the placement, we have this ending and then this learning type of environment here. Is you're moving to a position of leadership and kind of mastery, because we do have the King of Pentacles crystals here, okay? This is excellent for building a business. If you've ever thought about going out on your own, that's wonderful, or achieving, something better. So being able to recognize a fabulous offer when it comes your way, because you're not going to jump at the first thing, right? You're going to evaluate, you're going to see what works best for you, and you're going to jump on that. And you're going to take everything that you've learned and apply it, obviously. This is very much growth and expansion at its core. So, and then lastly, for those of you who are more interested in kind of aligning with your higher self, more true growth, spiritual, just kind of, what does my spiritual team need from me, want to say to me, is that this spread for you is more about a wake-up call. And I think that part of you is not facing the truth about something. And what I mean by that is, the Justice card is here, and it pretty much is telling you in a very kind way to stop being a victim about your circumstances, right? It pretty much having a woe is me mentality, because ain't nobody coming to help you with this own personal growth or spiritual journey that you're on. So if you have been knocked down, or if you're in just kind of barely keeping your head above water, it's really rough to say, but there's nobody who is coming to pull you out except for yourself, is kind of what I'm seeing here. You really need to address that woe is me, kind of I'm a victim mentality, because that's going to keep you stuck. Okay. You need to be able to take a step back and look at your situation with some cold logic. And when it comes to processing that, we got the Three of Swords and the Four of Cups again. And it just reminds you that growth does require a bit of grieving. Okay. You cannot skip the sad part of processes. It's you can't just skip to success. I mean, sometimes you can if you're super lucky, but there's always a balance. And, this is something that's prevalent in every aspect of the universe. You're always going to have to go through a dark side to get to the light side, and vice versa. Okay. But you're not going to be able to skip the sad part of this process. And the Eight of Wands is telling you not to linger here too long. You need to process this grief and move the heck on. Okay. It's because when the momentum starts, you're not going to be able to stop. Oh, there's a really beautiful little bird sitting out that just came and landed right on my windowsill when we were talking about that. So if yellow finchy birds, I don't know what kind of bird that is, but if this, there was a beautiful little yellow finch bird that just landed outside the window, take that as a sign if that calls to you. But basically for you, you're evolving. Okay. You're in the midst of a lot of growth and expansion, and that requires shedding your skin. We got I think that's a snake. I really don't know. There's definitely a snake here, but I don't know about that one. It's the watercolor is a little different. But basically you're evolving from the Page of Pentacles, kind of the dreamer with a plan, right, to the King of Pentacles, which is the master of the physical world. And your growth journey is about becoming more solid and less reactive to the emotional pain, and more focused on, building that unshakable life that I talked about. Okay. So those are 3 areas of your life, and that might apply to 1, 2, or 3 when it comes to you. Take your pick, but that is kind of all the messages I have for you today. But you know what? I'm just excuse the squeaky chair 1 second. I am going to get you a few cards from your angels real quick. Bear with me. Just take me 2 seconds. I'm going to run over here and grab my specific little angel message cards, and we're going to pull, excuse me, a couple just so that you can hear specifically from your spirit guides. Oh my goodness. Okay. We're going to take that one because it fell, and I just take the ones that always pop out at me. I need 3 though, please, Spirit. That would be fantastic. Give me 3. Cool. Appreciate you. All right. So we have I am innovative, I am disciplined, and I am intuitive. 1, 3, 1, 1, 1. So you're a self-starter, okay, with a very innovative way of creating opportunity. Your determination and endurance are powerful and will help you get through rough times and reach success, okay? So that's a very good reassurance from your spiritual team that we are on track with this reading, okay? You are disciplined with the number 31. Your approach to life is an effective mix of both practicality and imagination. Your mind is stirring with creative ideas, and you have organizational skills to manifest them into life. So yes, you're growing, you are practical, you know the steps you need to take, you just need to take them, okay? And be disciplined. And then number 11, you have, which is a master number, same with 1, you have a keen awareness of what is happening around you. A strong intuition is your gift and will help you understand the unspoken feelings and thoughts of others. This insight allows you to be a great guide and supporter. So, part of healing, for those of you who are going through that phase, is connecting with others. And in turn, what I feel like that message is speaks to is, when you lift others up, you lift yourself up in return. So if there are others around you who are going through a similar journey as you, share your stories and, give them those little kernels of wisdom, and you might get some back. Okay. If anything, the support is there to know that you're not alone. All right. Those are all the messages I have for you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Stay tuned for another upcoming week ahead video, but thank you for being here for the overall energy. And I do get a sense that this is more along the lines of the next, 1 to 2 months of energy. This is I get the sense that there's a little bit of a mix of slow but fast moving energy, but it is kind of a period of growth, and growth is never rapid. So think of this anywhere between I would think more than closer to the 2-month mark than it would be for the 1. So, expect this energy to kind of linger for a little bit of time. And I'll touch base with you again with another general reading next time. Okay, take care, everybody. Bye.